everyone, to our Groundskeeper chat series. I am your host, Meg Kruger. I have probably done that intro, like 90 times in my life, which that is just so exciting. And one more, it doesn't hurt. But one thing I don't have to do today is introduce our next guest, because my co-host,
I'm going to help you out today.
Tyler Morris, is going to take that away for me, and we're going to run into our next episode live here from Palm Springs.
So I'm fortunate to get to introduce a good friend of mine. He's met him probably 3 years ago, I think, at the Salt Lake City conference. He came up to me during the welcome reception. He said, I've seen your stuff. You and I went to the same school. Like, I just want to meet you in person. And I was like, okay, great. Like this, I love meeting people in person, so it was really great. And he welcomed me to the Northeast region. He used to work at the Philadelphia Union as their head groundskeeper there at Subaru Park. So he welcomed me to the Northeast, showed us around for a good time, and I'll let him talk about his other experiences just to give him that full, let him do the elevator pitch for himself,
story,
right?
Yeah.
Because I know that's what you like to do, is that turf origin story.
Yep.
So welcome to the Groundskeeper Chat, CJ Buck.
Whoop, whoop.
Well, thank y'all for having me. It's great out here in Palm Springs. I've been to California twice, but never here. So it's different in the desert, but it's nice. Can't complain. So appreciate y'all having me on.
It's not a bad way to spend the week, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
So my first question, you worked with John Torres then?
I did, yep. 6 years there. He's still there. He's going to be there till the place falls down around him, I'm pretty sure.
I love that. And you recently made the switch to the other side.
I did, yep.
And I think we wanted to talk a little bit about, your turf origin story, what kind of brought you to the other side, but then also, creating those relationships with sports field managers now from the vendor side, and how important it is not only for you to have that relationship with them, but for someone like Tyler to have that, toolkit of people like you that he can call on. And what's so cool about our industry is that, you can call a vendor and that they've been in a similar situation as you, because we've done such a great job of keeping people in the industry. Like if you don't want to be out on the field every day anymore, you can still be a part of this industry, this network, and give really sound advice when you're selling product.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're trying to do now, is just be a resource for everybody, whatever that looks like. And that's what I tell all my customers that I show up to, is whether it's firsthand experience or the beauty about a company like Harold's is we have so many reps that I don't have to be the expert on everything. And then we also have PhDs, I think 8 or 9 PhDs on staff. So if none of the reps know what's going on, or, we have a PhD who specializes in diseases, a PhD who specializes in weeds, a PhD who specializes with shrubs and trees and that sort of thing, a PhD who built our liquids. So there's always someone who can answer the question. Or you can, like Tyler specifically, he's got a unique job where he's putting in sod all the time, pulling out sod on top of his synthetic turf. So I never had to do that. I had a natural grass field that was established. So if somebody asks a question about it, I could be like, well, I got a guy I can call to get you the answer. So that's just how you try to be a resource for folks and give them that sound advice, give them that firsthand experience. Try to do that with Tyler. There's been some hiccups along the way, just some stuff just with his unique situation that we have to work through together. But then it's about finding the right answers and all that. So I love my job currently, but how it all started, honestly, and I told Nick McKenna this the other day when I saw him, was I went up to Virginia Tech for camp in high school. It was called Governor's School, and it was like a month-long camp where you majored in an ag segment. And I wanted to be a vet, I thought, growing up. But you go there, and that major was filled, so they put me in plant science, which I was like, well, I mean, I don't mind. I grew up in Southeast Virginia in peanut country, so I thought it wouldn't be a bad thing. So I learned about it a little bit, but they had some electives you could choose, and one of them was sports turf, and I was like, well, I like sports a lot, so I'll see what it's about. And I don't really care about grass, but I'll go walk on Lane Stadium, which was always a goal to get in there and see that place. So Nick McKenna was still at Virginia Tech at the time, and he toured the whole group of us around. And, it was really cool to see Lane Stadium, see the soccer facilities, see the baseball fields and all that. But then whenever he was talking about the grass, it just kind of stuck with me. And so I was fortunate in that whenever I finally came time to choose a school, got into Tech first try, and I knew I wanted to do turf from there on out. So it was 4 years there and then a 5th year working But I worked on the rec fields with Chad Kropf before he went to the Roanoke County, and then went full in with Bulldog. Worked with him on the rec fields.
No way.
Your other favorite.
Yeah.
Oh
favorite
my
guest.
goodness.
So I always love throwing Chad's name around because
Yeah.
everybody knows Bulldog. So it was great to work with him and help him at the job, but then also take care of like some local high schools, rebuild their mounds and stuff like that. He's a great guy to learn
So
from.
you helped him out some in Southwest Virginia, right?
Yeah,
With some
yeah,
of
we
the
went to a few
pre-builds?
different high schools. Yeah, some mountain. Man, that dude's a wizard with dirt, and that's where I figured out that I was never going to speak that language, and baseball was probably not for me because Chad could spend 10 hours on a mound and still, in his eyes, it not be perfect. And I was like, dude, man, we got to go on to the next thing. But he's a wizard with it. So I worked with him for about a year, and then I knew I always wanted to go to the D1 facility. So eventually worked my way in there. Worked there as a student my senior year, so that was 8 months. And I've always been a soccer guy, so I got real tight with Andy McReynolds there, and he was in charge of the soccer fields, and so helped him out. But obviously, you're still working on softball fields, still working on Lane Stadium, still working on all the landscapes, so you get to see a lot. And at Tech, we were a very well-rounded crew where we were doing conduit for new construction. We're running irrigation pipe. You do everything there. So you got to see a lot of stuff, figure out kind of what you do like about the job, what you don't like about the job.
Yep.
But graduated, and then I went to Louisville with Tom Nielsen.
Dude, oh my gosh, you are name dropping my favorite people in the world right here. No wonder you're so cool.
I've lived a spoiled life when it comes to
my gosh.
good
Been around some
connections.
big names.
Yeah.
Tom Nielsen, a member of the Nielsen Mafia in
I
our
am.
presence.
Yep. Branded
That's
and
amazing.
everything. So,
Where's
yeah.
your tattoo?
It's a brand. I can't show it to you. But yeah, no. So you still got other members of the Nielsen Mafia that you see walking
Heck
around
yeah.
all
And
the time.
Aaron Fink is right behind
Well,
you.
Aaron Fink and I were on the same crew that
Amazing.
year.
Yeah.
So I got to see Aaron. I mean, he was he was one of those guys that you work with and you just know he's on a path to greatness. So
Yep.
he was there for 2 years as an intern, and then he was on the crew. And now he was in charge at the bats for a bit, and then he went over to City.
Field of the Year winner this year.
Yep, and now he's killing it over at Lou City. So super proud of him. Happy to call him a really good friend as well. But yeah. Went there with Tom, of course, ran 100 miles a day just like he loves to do.
Dude, I love it. Oh,
yeah,
my
it was
goodness.
fantastic. Show up at 8, get ready for BP and PFPs and all that, and then break for lunch and go run 6 to 10 miles and then come back, catch a nap, and then you're straight into game mode. So it was a real cool summer. Oh, and we had Lou City at that stadium at that time because that City Stadium,
So cool.
Lynn Family Stadium, wasn't built yet. So we'd flipped the field.
This is
from
what then? 2019?
2016.
Okay, 2016.
Yeah, so this is summer 2016. So we'd flipped the field from baseball to soccer and then back again. So there were a lot of late nights with those guys. But it was a great crew. That was one of those crews that you
You
wish,
can't replicate that.
No,
It's
and-
a moment in time.
Yeah,
Right.
and you wish you could be on it forever because there's a bunch of good guys like Matt who just walked by. It's just a bunch of clowns that you work
Todd
with every
Schaefer.
day. Yeah, Todd. Lord of mercy. Yeah, so and now he's
You're gonna start giving him names,
I
and he's
know.
like, "Oh no."
Todd, Grandpa, man, yeah, the old man. I love him to death. But no, it was a great crew. Like I said, moment in time. You always look back fondly on it. So I was there for 16, and then I was graduated, so I knew it was a full-time job next, but didn't really have anything lined up. Knew I wanted to work in soccer, but kind of always had this I guess stigma is not the right word, but predisposed notion that it would just be tough to get on full-time anywhere, just because
Yeah.
that's what it seemed for MLB and NFL. Like you had to grind and had to know a guy to get on a crew. But I went back to Tech, kind of biding my time, checking the job board, SFMA and all that. And then SFMA was in Orlando in what would have been January of 17.
Yeah.
And I sent an email out to all the MLS groundskeepers from Kansas City East, and was just like, here's who I am, here's my resume, here's what I'm trying to do. I want to work in soccer. And a lot of them emailed me back and were like, sorry, I don't have any space, don't have anything going on. But 2 guys emailed me back and were like, well, we'll be in Orlando if you want to meet. And one of them was Dan Bergstrom with the Dynamo, and then the other one was John Torres with the Union. So I met both of them. Turned out to be my interview pretty much for Houston. And so I was Dan's first assistant there. He got there, I think, at the middle of 16, so I was his first assistant. Stayed in Houston, loved that crew too. That was another moment in time sort of thing.
Yeah.
But my whole family's from Virginia. My girlfriend at the time, we'd been together 4 years. Now we're going on 13 years. So
Oh my goodness.
she was looking for schooling for occupational therapy, and there wasn't anything in Houston. And Houston's a beast too, with the heat, humidity, and the flatness of it all. So she was pretty homesick with the mountains, so we didn't see it long term for us. So I left on good terms. It was a shame to leave after 1 year, but loved my time there. But the way it worked out was, about August, John's assistant left him, and he slid into my DMs on Twitter and was like, well, if you're still interested in coming home, like, we're going to have a spot if you want to come back east. And I said, okay, well, I'll think about it, and ended up pulling the trigger and started out as his assistant. And at the time we had the stadium pitch and then 2 training pitches and a little bit of landscape outside of them. But his whole thing that he's proud of is every single year you get more responsibility, and that's exactly how it happened. So we went from just the landscape around both of those facilities to all of a sudden there's, if you ever been to Subaru Park, you'll see the big brick building in the background, and that's the old power plant. So then we were responsible for all that landscape, and then it expanded to the whole mile worth of property that it sits on, and then every year we buy another parcel of land, and so every year the job grew, and so then John's role grew, and with that he got a little bit too tied up with meetings, as all the guys in his position do. We're just more of a project manager at that point, planning things out. So I was looking out for me. I was like, well, I want more responsibility. I want to take over as much as I can. Obviously, you're still the man here, but if I can be the head sports turf manager, then that'd be what I want to do. Otherwise, just the path that you're on, you want to grow more and do more. So it was either kind of grow there or grow somewhere else. So worked out where in 2021, I believe, would have been the first year of it. Yeah. Got promoted to head sports turf manager. He got promoted to director of grounds and was just solely responsible for all the new project planning, and then what ended up turning into the new training facility, the new building that they're building over there now. But ran the place, ran the day-to-day on the sports turf anyway for 3 years, which was really cool. Got to test some stuff, got to test myself, get more responsibility, agronomic plan, meet with sales reps, do all that sort of thing, hire interns. So got some good interns there. One of them is the assistant out in St. Louis now. One of them's a head guy for soccer in Michigan. One of them's in charge of a soccer field in Nebraska now. And, so it was really cool to kind of have your own sort of Nielsen Mafia. Soccer, we don't get to touch
Mafia.
That's right. We don't get to touch as many people in soccer just because the crews are a little bit smaller. But that was kind of something that always stuck with me from Tom in Louisville, was kind of just get your own family tree going, so to speak. So
I feel like people underestimate that. Like he said, like John slid into his DMs. Like I feel like people underestimate that. In the turf world, it's kind of okay, right?
Yeah.
Talk to whoever you want to, get to know people, because you never know, especially in CJ's case. He met those 2 people in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
and
look where
didn't
it led.
talk to John for a while, and then he spent
6 years.
6 years in Philadelphia after that, So
and that, I always try to I don't want to talk too highly of myself ever, but it's one of them things where you try to see yourself as a mentor now, just because you've done it your own way, and so everybody can kind of mentor folks just on how they came up. But that was, I tell every kid that I run into now, just take a shot, man. You don't know the answer if you don't ask. So all that came from sending emails, finding all those emails on SFMA's website and sending it out to all the groundskeepers. And that's what my whole career came from, essentially. So I
love it.
It worked out for me, and I got to work in MLS, which was a goal, like I said, of mine since I was a kid. I grew up loving soccer. So, in 17, the Dynamo went to the Western Conference Final, and then in 18, the Union went to the Open Cup Final, and then in 2020, we won the league. And then we're in the Champions League every year after that I was there. Went to the Cup Final in 22.
He's seen good sports.
Yeah.
I can't say that for myself. I've seen some bad sports over the
Jets
last
and
couple
Giants
of years.
are a few years away. But the Philly mentality is always next year, right? So maybe next year for either one of them. But no, man, got to have some of the world's best players on the field. Messi came to us in 22 or 23.
Yeah.
I can't remember. They all blend together now. But, the stadium's right under the bridge, and people were sitting on the wall of the bridge just trying to watch that game. The place was packed out. So got to see so much good soccer. We always made the playoffs while I was in the league, so it was just cool to be a part of. And I don't regret it for a second. But then, priorities change. Kind of hit my peak there. Like, John ain't leaving. So it was one of them things I can either stay there forever and be right-hand man, or try something different, get into some spots that test your skills, grow your other skills a little bit, be uncomfortable. And that's what I decided to do. My wife and I, we were thinking about having a kid as well. And so I knew just with the way the soccer season goes, man, I mean, you're full throttle from essentially the second week of January when preseason kicks off till, I mean, shoot, the way we were playing, where you're going deep in the playoffs every year, you're talking past
Such a
Thanksgiving.
shame.
Rubbing it in. Like,
Well, I mean, it's champagne
got
problems.
to be a part of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's champagne problems, but it takes a toll. So that MLS is a marathon. It definitely ain't a sprint. So, like I said, priorities kind of change, and you're just looking around like, is this what I want to do long term? And I mean, everything about it was what I liked, but then you're jipping somebody, and in that case, it was my wife and we didn't have a daughter at the time, but now we do. She's about to turn 1, so I just didn't want to be. I've been an absentee, boyfriend, fiance, husband for about a decade, running around the country, and she was good enough to put up with it and be supportive and all that. But I wanted to kind of pay it back to her and not be an absentee father, right? So that's how it all came about. Talk to my reps every time they come by. Just be like, looking around, not sure what I want to do. Looking at other jobs, definitely want to kind of stick with pro sports, but not against municipalities or college or whatever. But then one of my reps from Harold's was like, "Well, have you ever thought about working for us?" And I was like, "Not at all. I don't think I could be a salesman." He's like, "You're selling yourself short, kid." So he talked about it, and Harold's got laid out to be, too good to be true. And I mean, sure enough, since I've been on, they've absolutely been everything and more that Eric, my rep, promised them to be. And I mean, just super supportive, real family-oriented company, just big into helping people, following their faith and all that. And I mean, it's been, like I said, everything and more. So they've been real good to me. I've had no stress. They've just said go out there and make friends, because I didn't come in with a customer base. I've had to grow that organically, but they wanted me to focus on sports turf and lawn care, and I'm doing golf as well. So it's been cool being able to get off the property that I could never get off of. Now I'm essentially from Central Park down to D.C. and out 2 hours west to Harrisburg. So I'm in northern Delaware still. I'm 20 minutes away from the stadium, so I still get to go by and see the boys every now and again.
And what's your daughter's name?
June.
Great.
Yeah. So
Oh my
her
gosh.
birthday's coming up here next month, but yeah.
What's the date?
February 17th.
Okay, I have a March 8th, the
Okay.
Pisces.
Okay. I could not tell you her zodiac sign, which I probably should know, but anyway.
I think it's out of no, it's got to be Aquarius, because I'm Aquarius at the 5th.
Yep,
But I don't know how far it goes.
Till the 21st.
So then, yeah. So
Yeah. There you go.
I know I'm a Gemini in
CJ's
June.
just like, all right.
Dude, I'm a Gemini. We're the wacky ones.
Yeah. So like June was a good month.
You're
My wife
also,
and I.
No. You are a Cancer.
I'm a Cancer.
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
In many ways.
Yeah, my wife.
Did you ever think you were going to get to say that about your boss? Like, be like,
You're-
Oh, I've said much worse.
and there's the sigh.
Yeah, right.
Too good, man. Too good.
So I told CJ, I said I was going to ask you a kind of a softball question, but I said, first podcast, I won't give you the hard hitting questions just yet.
Yeah.
I'll save that for you.
Perfect.
But I was going to say, what's the transition been like for you? Like you said, you kind of touched on it a little bit. Obviously, Britt and June are a big part of your life, and you said like you wanted to make sure you made time for them. So how has it been being able to be right in there with them as June starts to grow up? Is she walking yet? Is she kind of crawling around?
She's army crawling
how's
everywhere.
How's
yeah.
it going?
Yeah.
How's it nice to be able to see all of that?
So like, Britt was pregnant and the season was coming to an end in 2023, and it was nice to be able to to end the year on a high note, go work in the cup final with my buddy Ryan. I have that freedom, but then as soon as the year turned and you joined Harold's, it was just great, because her due date was originally like the 21st or 24th.
Yeah.
So she was born on the 17th. I think Champions League was the first game they had. Champions League kickoff for the Union would have been on the 21st.
It was that weekend, I think.
Yeah, and then MLS was on the 24th, and then
Yeah.
there would have been the return leg of Champions League on the 20th. Or no, it would have been like March 1st. I think that was leap year, but it would have been March 1st. So I was like, well, if I was still working in the league, I mean, this type of guy groundskeepers are like, you can't stay away. I mean, I would have been there for Britt, don't get me wrong, but I knew I would have ended up at that stadium for any one of those games, And so right off the jump, I was like, this was the right decision, because you get to be with her throughout the whole process. It's obviously a stressful time, and it's a lot of moving parts in a birth. So you want to be as helpful as you can. We're 5 and 6 hours away from both of our families, so there's really no one to truly lean on except each other. But yeah, the freedom was there from the moment. And like I said, Harold's they were fully supportive. They all knew about Britt and June and everything. So they were like, no, man, go be with your wife, go be a dad. go take that time, make sure you're treating them well, because you only get one shot at it. And yeah, so got to be there the whole time. Got to be with her just after and hang out with June as a potato, and now she's starting to army crawl and she's babbling, and mama was her first word, which I didn't really.
Yeah, girl.
Yep. I mean, Britt was pretty determined that was going to be how that was going to go, and I wasn't in her way, so I wasn't teaching her D's at all. So she's got the mama down pat, and yeah, she's babbling. She's got her own language. It's really cool. Like I have 3 nephews, and you'd see them every so often. Hey, every time you see them, they're just a bigger person. You're like, oh, that's cool. You're growing up. But then to live with a person who's starting out, like I said, as very much a potato, to now she's got her hands, and she's got her motor movements all down. She loves scratching things.
You just can't wait till that attitude comes in.
Oh man, I'm not looking forward to it.
It doesn't end.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. That's why I was terrified to have a girl. Not because of dealing with teenage boys and all that stuff chasing her, but just I don't know about the attitude, but hey, hopefully that's 15 years away.
I'll tell you, as a girl dad, I'm a boy too, but as a girl dad, being a dad, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Because you're always like that special, in my relationship, that special guy, So it's pretty cool.
And you get that by being there, which I didn't want to be. I didn't want June to not know who I was walking in every day,
Right.
10 hours late.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been cool. I don't regret it. I love what I did. I love what I do now, and I'm happy to be at home with Britt and June every night. Now the problem is you work from a computer just as much as you work from a stadium. So now it's just trying to find that balance of logging off. But trying to grow everything, it's tough. You just the way groundskeepers are wired is you always got to have results, and so to be starting out from scratch in sales is definitely tough, and you got to find those wins where you can. But again, all the other reps in the area are super supportive, and they all tell you how it's going to go, and it's gone exactly that way. Where the first couple of years might be tough, and then it all starts to click, and then year 5, 6, 7, it takes off. So that's exactly how year 1 went. It was just a grind, but nothing to turn you off from it. Just first year rookie mistakes, rookie problems, all that sort of thing. But it seems like so far, 1 year in, I've picked a good company, and that's what everybody said about Harold's in passing. Complete strangers will come up and just be like, you picked a good one at random trade shows and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, the ability to be at home, and whenever she starts playing sports and all that sort of stuff, being able to go to soccer games, soccer practice, going up to see
You're
people.
going to be that groundskeeper's favorite parent.
Yeah. Either that or their worst nightmare. But I try not to meddle too much with other people's situations.
That or you're going to find yourself doing it. Cause
Yeah,
you're doing it wrong.
That'll probably
more than
be what
likely
it
that
is, so.
case for sure.
Yeah, or
CJ, sorry, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
yeah, Brittany was just like, well, you're going to be her soccer coach growing up. And I was like, I don't know about all that. I don't know how in too deep I want to get, but I'll be there for her regardless. But no, it's been a blast.
Love that for you.
So one thing that Meg always asks me, she's always into like the stuff you're doing outside of work, right? So you said that sign-off period. So one thing we started the last time I was on was the behind the headphones
Yeah.
kind of segment. Talk about like what you're listening to, what you're doing. Are you watching TV? Are you doing whatever? Are you listening to music? What are you doing as you drive from customer to customer? So
It's a lot of podcasts and music. So I'm a pretty eclectic guy when it comes to music, and I never thought I'd get tired of anything. But whenever you drive for a living, you can get tired pretty quick of what you're listening to. So you start branching out, finding new stuff. So I like alt rock. I like rap. I like 90s country. I like a little bit of everything. So I'll put music on, but then it's a lot of podcasts. So a lot of comedy podcasts just to break up the day, laugh while you're driving, and then there's some turfgrass podcasts I listen to.
the groundskeeper chat, right?
Yeah, that turfgrass epistemology with Travis Shaddix. That's a pretty good one. So he's always breaking down research papers and stuff, which I like.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm a turf nerd at heart. So if you can bring data to the table, that's a good one to listen to. A history podcast, just a little bit of everything. But that's pretty much it. Pretty hot on this guy named Marlon Funaki right now. Love him. He's got good music.
Marlon Funaki.
Never heard it.
It's just chill music. I don't know. It's nice to drive to. I'll say that.
It's
So
like calm, like nothing like super like bassy or
no,
treble-y or
yeah, it's
anything?
just calm, chill guitar. I guess it's considered alt rock, I would say, but it's almost like alt rock house music, I guess. But
We're going
it's
to turn it on and just be like, da, da, da.
yeah, no,
I'd be like, CJ, that's not not
that is not what I am doing. I am not the grunge death metal guy. That's my best friend growing up, but I don't know how he listens to it. But no, so that's what I listen to now, and then some Spanish language podcasts, trying to learn Spanish and.
I love that.
You are a big history guy, right?
Yeah, I like to think so. You know, I grew up in Virginia, so we had the Yorktown, Jamestown, Revolutionary War, Civil War, all that around you. So I was pretty into it growing up, and then now as I grew up, it's like every white guy follows his path. I feel like where you just fall into being interested in world wars. So it's a lot of World War I podcasts. That's the history podcast I listen to. But then there's one called like the short history of. So they'll go into a bunch of different everything. I mean, back from Stonehenge up through. Like the Elizabethan era, all that sort of stuff. So I like listening to those just because it's quick and dirty. It gives you the gist and enough to talk about it. At dinner with people, you can just be like, "Did you know about the what's it called, the black powder incident in England back in the 1600s, stuff like that." But yeah, no,
those are my favorite type of guys to run into. Kidding.
But
well, CJ, I think we could probably talk for days, and I think our proximity, like I just was telling Tyler, I got to make it out there. So maybe we'll link up so that you're there at the same time.
Absolutely.
Because I think we could definitely take this. We could have probably a pretty cool, long conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I try to get up and see Tyler every month or 6 weeks or so, and that's the beauty of the job now is you get away and get to see different places, man. So I've seen a lot of cool spots and hear a lot of cool stories, a lot of like, I don't want to say weird, that kind of has a bad connotation, but a lot of like quirky stuff that guys do to get the job done.
Yeah.
And, so it's cool. It's just interesting to see how everybody does their job, man. Like that was always the thing about groundskeepers is there's 1,000 different ways to do this.
Right.
And so the way everybody does it is incredible. So getting up to see Tyler and his situation, going to municipalities and private schools and golf courses and see what they're doing, and then talking to just, average Joes running lawn care businesses, man. Like that's the name of the game now. So trying to, like you said, give that sound advice and just be a sounding board for them to make sure their head's in the right spot and they're thinking about everything. So
love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, to be continued for sure.
Absolutely. No, I look forward to it.
Thank you.